Hey guys, Patrick again. How's everyone doing? Um, so state of emergency, power's out. It's freezing cold. You have no power. You have no water, and limited ways to cook and stay warm. So we kind of want to go over some options. Uh, Especially in the South, uh, where they're not as adept to handling freezing cold, snow, all this stuff. So this weekend, starting Friday, there's a chance of snow Friday, but they're calling for up to 13 inches of snow on Sunday, depending on the weather application that you're watching. Um, they're saying several days of no power, likely. So I wanted to go over some of these different options. You might be in the north, you're in an apartment, you lose power, you lose water, you need to stay warm. It's below freezing up there. Down here, same thing. We had an issue in Texas a couple years ago where those people got hit by a polar vortex. It snowed, people froze to death. Okay, you had a situation in Buffalo. Year and a half ago, people got stuck on I-90 and couldn't move. Their cars ran out of gas. They couldn't stay warm and they froze to death. So this is what we're kind of going to go over today. Some different options on staying warm and learning to cook inside, okay, and outside, but definitely inside in a safe manner, okay? First thing, how to stay warm. If you're in an apartment, this is going to be easy for you, okay? What I would do is probably go to Walmart and buy, a cheap tent, okay? And you're going to set that up in your living room. Move your coffee table, set that up in your living room. While you're at Walmart, you can get one of these. It's a mylar blanket. I think this was like $5-6. I don't know. 6-7. I don't know. 6-7. I can't remember. But basically, it's mylar. You're going to put this. You're going to set your tent up in your apartment, or if you're in a house, you can set a tent up in your house. If you got more people, you need a bigger tent. But set it up in your living room. Move the coffee table. Make some room. Set your tent up in your living room. Put this. Affix this to the roof of the tent, okay? And this is going to reflect heat, so what you could do is get like an emergency candle. They have them at Walmart in the candle section where they sell all the religious candles. You'll see that they have these very large unscented candles. I could tell you that they easily last over 8 hours. I have mine at night upstairs in the man cave. I'll leave it on. It goes for days. So you can get one of those candles is $6. It's like this, okay? If you're gonna use, some of you that follow this channel know about the Crisco candle. If you're gonna use that, don't put that in a mason jar, because I've done that. What you do is you buy just a normal tall candle. You fill a mason jar with Crisco and you put that candle in, and it's supposed to burn for 72 hours. The problem with using a mason jar is as that wick burns down, that candle burns down, and that oil cooks off, that heat, once it hits that mason jar, is going to crack your mason jar apart. So you really want to get a glass, like a old candle jar if you're going to use Crisco, okay? But I would recommend one of those tall emergency candles at Walmart for $6, unscented, like I said, where they sell the religious candles. You could put that candle on in your tent, affix this to the roof of your tent, and this will keep you warm, okay? Overnight when it's freezing cold. Doesn't matter what the house is doing. You, your family, your pet, you guys can stay warm just by using Morris Kohansky's superstructure philosophy. Put this in the roof of your tent. Okay, if it drapes down the side, good. You know, what's going to happen is that heat's going to rise up, and that mylar is going to reflect that heat back down to you. So you're not losing that heat. You're not exactly trapping the heat, but you're not losing it. It's going to keep you warm in that tent. I would advise keeping the vents open. You know, obviously when you're burning a candle, it's going to let off some soot, you know. So keep the vents open, but use the mylar in the tent, in the roof of the tent. If it drapes down the side or each side or whatever, it doesn't matter. But definitely in the roof. You can get something that's a little more beefy. This is made by Sol, S-O-L. Shit out of luck. But it's got that orange paint latex backing. So it's not gonna, you could use this multiple times. Typically mylar like this, you're gonna use it once, you know, and then toss it. They have smaller blankets at Walmart too. This one's, you know, king size. Basically, you can make a tent out of this. Or you can fix that to a tent. You get tents at Walmart for like nothing. So I would advise that. That's how to stay warm. Cooking options. Okay. So I have this. This is probably going to be your first go-to. They sell these at Walmart. I think this was $20 or something. They have cheaper ones, but they don't have the base. So this folds out like so, okay, providing a stable base. So when you put this on, you just screw this into one of these cans. You get these that are like 2 for $10 or 2 for $12, okay? There's a way to refill these, but you know, when you put that on, it's not going to wiggle around. You've got a stable base. That's my first option right there. Okay. They also have smaller ones that are like $14. So in an emergency, you want to have something like that. That's how you're going to be able to cook, and it's safe to do it inside. A lot of gas stoves are propane, so obviously you can use propane inside. Another option for staying warm. If you have a small room in your house, okay, typically a bedroom, maybe one of the kids' rooms, but a bedroom, you could get a buddy heater. This is another option for staying warm if you don't want to do the tent idea, which is probably a preferred way to do, easiest way to do it, definitely the most cost effective. But this is a buddy heater, Mr. Buddy. They sell these at, you know, department stores. I don't want to plug Walmart for everything, but you can get a smaller one. The traditional Mr. Buddy heater, it's like $100, okay? This one's the extra large, Big Buddy. It's called Mr. Big Buddy. So you can get these tanks go in the sides. This one you can put 2 tanks in. So it's the big. It's got 2 sides, 2 burners. So if you have a small room, this is rated for safe for RVs by FEMA. So you could use these inside. These canisters, you know, like one of these burners, this one controls this side, that canister controls this side. One canister only lasts about 6 to 8 hours. Okay, so depending on how hot you have this, you're going to go through a lot of canisters, especially if you're out for several days. So what you could do, and I've done here, is you can get, hang on, I attached mine to the buddy heater using some zip ties, but you can get an extension hose with a fuel filter and attach that to a 20-pound tank. That will last you a lot longer, obviously. So that's another option. You won't have to go through so many of these smaller tanks, these green ones. are only a pound. So $6 a pound or $17 for 20 pounds. Obviously, get the hose, get a fuel filter. You can find these on eBay. The hardware store will have hoses like this. I know Tractor Supply has the filters and the hoses for the buddy heater. So that's another option. Another option. I remember these when we played hockey. Some of the rinks that we played at were outdoors. So they would have these on the benches, trying to keep the kids from like freezing to death. But this, hang on, is another option. Traditionally, this is going to be used outdoors, but you could use it inside as long as you do it safely. But okay, so this connection fits into here. This provides you a stand right there. Okay, so you just turn that on and you light it. It gives you a little port right here. Stick a lighter or a flame or a match or whatever right there, and then you control the heat with this knob. Okay, so that's another option right here. I got this one. I forgot who made it, but I got this on eBay 2 years ago. Same time I got the buddy heater. So those are some options. Staying warm inside. Okay. Cooking options. Now, a couple of different things. You can buy an alcohol stove. They're like little alcohol stoves. A lot of campers use them. Instead of using, instead of using the propane thing and all that, what they do is they have little alcohol burners. Okay, this one also doubles as a charcoal burner, but you can make your own. Just a can, like a tomato soup, tomato paste. Drill a couple holes in the first lip. Okay, like so. What I do is, in my drill bit, I put a screw. Like, you know, just a typical screw. Loosen that puppy up, put the screw in there, tighten it back up, put it on in to the right, and drill, back it out, and keep going. If you want those holes a little bigger, you can get a drill bit, a different size drill bit, and make those bigger. Okay, but that's how I do it. Just with the screw, and it goes right through. I don't have to sit there and wait, you know. Pretty easy. I use this just as a base. Also keep the top. Okay. But what you do, I'm going to take you inside for this, but one capful. This is denatured alcohol. Okay, industrial strength alcohol. Kind of like rubbing alcohol on steroids. So this is what they use in alcohol stoves. It's made for camping, starting fires. You can see alcohol burning appliances. So one cap, okay? One cap is going to last you about 7 minutes. So just dump it in like so. I'll bring you inside so you can see the flame. One sec, let me hit pause. All right, so here we are. This is my little ode to Morris Kohansky. This is actually part of my truck pack. This little camp cup, porcelain type thing, and that there is a poncho with mylar inside. So, let's put some water in here. You know, probably just enough for ramen or some soup or coffee, whatever, you know. So, I don't know if you can see, but, you know, got about 2 cups in there, okay? Now, doing this on the stovetop. And I've got this protected base down there just in case. Take your lighter. Okay. There, it's lit. Okay, now just wait a couple seconds. What's going to happen, that gas is going to heat up, and then it's going to come up here and start coming out of these holes. Okay, so we're going to let that heat up a little bit. I'll let you see what it looks like. As it's heating up, the alcohol is going to heat up, and it's going to start vaporizing. Once that happens, then you're ready to cook. Usually takes, you know, minute, couple minutes, whatever. Okay. All right. The jets are down down at the bottom. Here, I'll show you. So it's called gasifications. If you look down there, see that jet inside coming in? All right. So that means you got gasification. You're just going to put this on and watch. See how it's starting to come out? You don't have to worry about the stand. The tin cup provides the stand. It's stable. Okay. You can put a lid on top. That'll help it boil a little faster. As it gets hotter and hotter, the rest of these will start. There. Just waft it a little bit. And that will come out. And like I said, a capful is going to burn for about 7 minutes. That's one capful. The denatured alcohol you can find at Walmart or any department store. It'll be where the paint thinner is and all that stuff. So you'll see tarps, painting tarps, paint thinner, denatured alcohol. This is what you're looking for. It's actually camp fuel. They might have it at the camping section. Hi, Bo. There's a good boy. He's waiting for his bestie to get home. Pat's at an appointment. So this is live. I don't know how much time's gone by. Let's give it a check. It's already starting to steam. Okay. So this is an option to cook inside. Denatured alcohol it's very pure fuel. So there's not a lot of risk of, like, if I'm using lighter fluid, you can use lighter fluid. You could use kerosene. You could use heat, which is a dry gas type thing that you would add to your car. You know, those little bottles that they sell at the gas station. So you can get those at the dollar store too for like $1. So very inexpensive, clean burning, denatured alcohol. Okay. So that's starting to go out. No, it's not. Now, it's still cooking. If I want to snuff that out, now you could put more alcohol in there if you want a longer burn. If I want to put that out, this is a tomato sauce can. Just wait a second or two. Okay, that flames out. So, and that is warm. So that's for coffee right there. 1 cap will make you 2 cups of coffee. Okay, let's go back outside. Okay, so Bo's having a ride. Now, this is going to be hot, so I'm not going to touch that. You're going to use this and stuff like that. Have some leather gloves. Highly advisable. So, denatured alcohol made by Clean Strip. Perfect. You could also use heat. Also works. You could use lighter fluid. Also works. The good thing about this is also a charcoal burner. So if you have self-lighting charcoal, for example, you just put that in there. You could actually soak a little of that alcohol on these. You just put that in there, same thing happens. Flame comes out of these right here. Your pot goes on top, or your pan. They do sell this cook set at Walmart as well. Walmart. It's like I'm sponsored by Walmart. But the good thing about these are made of aluminum. So this is going to heat up really fast, okay? So you've got food on this or whatever, that's going to heat up. You could do hot dogs, eggs, bacon, hamburgers. This stuff heats up incredibly fast. So that's why campers use aluminum. They want their stuff done fast, all that. So also comes with a lid. You could use that as a plate or whatever. Snaps into place. So charcoal, I usually keep the charcoal. Okay, so that's cool to the touch now. It'll cook off all that lining. So before you actually cook with this, each can has a lining inside. You can kind of see at the bottom, it's still there. But do an initial burn just to get rid of the rest of it. And you could run a file along this to get rid of these pokies up here. Flat file or something like that if you want to. But initial burn to cook off the lining on the can, the protective lining that they use. So what I do is just put a few things of charcoal. If you're going to do charcoal out, you want to be outside. And then I have, hang on one sec. One sec. Come on. All right. Patrick just got home, so Bo's all excited. So what I do, like I said, this is typically part of my truck kit, but so these are lids to candles, the smelly good ones at Walmart. So just always keep that lid. That also provides an extra base, and if you need to snuff it out, there you go. So that's how I keep that, and I'll keep that in the cupboard or in the pantry. So if I need it, if I need to cook, I can do that right away, whatever. Again, see the steam coming off it. One cap, you've got hot coffee or tea or whatever. If you do more than a cap, then you'll be able to make pasta or soup, ramen, whatever. Get your hot dog, your hamburger. So typically, like I said, this is a poncho. It's got the mylar inside the poncho. So emergency shelter kind of thing for the truck. Good to have if you ever find yourself on an interstate during a snowstorm and traffic is blocked up. Also keep a cup in there. Just smush it down. Okay, so it usually goes in this. We'll go over an emergency truck kit. So I have just a waterproof container, and I keep fire starting stuff in here. I've got a first aid kit. There's some candles, little tea candles, fire starter, a bellow, some emergency matches, storm matches, all that stuff. So that usually goes in the bottom, and then my guy Moore's goes on top. he was an instructor. He did a lot of military instruction, especially for the Air Force that were stationed at Elmendorf and Anchorage, Alaska. So Hansky was the man. So again, aluminum cook set at Walmart for like 15 bucks. That way when you're doing alcohol stoves and stuff like that, you don't have to wait to heat up an iron skillet. Another idea for an alcohol stove, what you would do is just drill holes. This is again one of the lids for the scented candles. Just a can. I don't know what it went to. Looks like a tuna can or a big seafood can or something. This cap fits right on there. You could use a little tin foil just to make sure it's airtight. You don't want flame coming out of the lid, but you could just put your holes here, right along here. Okay, you take the lid off, fill it up, and then put your lid back on with your tin foil, and the flames will just, once you get it lit, the flames will just come out the side. Really don't even need the lid. It's the same premise, it's just a wider base. So same premise as the other stove I just showed you. You put this holes along the top, you know, put a screw in your drill bit upside down so the pointy end's this way, and you could screw right through here, and that'll provide you, because it's a wider base, a little more stable surface. Okay, there's that. Or you could use the soup can, you know, same philosophy. Another thing, this is calcium acetate. Okay, you've heard of sternos, you know, I forget what they cost. Like a sterno can is like $3, but it's basically a solid fuel. Some of these cook sets are multi-fuel, some are solid fuel. This is an esbit. It's a camping setup. Okay, so if you have familiarity with camping, there is no reason for anyone to die because it's cold. Okay, so this is an esbit. They sell like little solid fuel cells, tabs that go right in this thing. Okay, you could buy those, or you can make your own, right? So calcium acetate, I got this idea from John over at Boondockery on YouTube. He's got a video on how to make flame gel or flame jelly, whatever he called it. But what it is, calcium acetate, you're going to dilute this in warm water. So it's, I think, half a cup of warm water to a quarter cup of calcium acetate, and dilute it. Okay, so 1 part acetate, 1 part water. Okay, warm water, hot water. Okay, dilute that. It won't work with cold water, so dilute that in the warm water, quarter cup, half cup, 1 part, 2 part. Okay, and then start adding your denatured alcohol. You could use grain alcohol too, but denatured alcohol, start adding it, and then you have your own solid fuel jelly. Okay, I think they call it flame jelly or whatever, but it's on YouTube. I'll do a separate video on how to do this, so you guys will be able to see it. I'll have it on my my channel. Really, it came from John, who also got it from Hiram. Basically outdoorsman. Okay, so that's just another cook set, another option. Okay, if you're out of power and you have no heat, these are some alternatives to keep you warm. Okay, mylar along the tent, a buddy heater, or you know, something like this. I think it was Sun King. Okay, something like that, or a buddy heater, or a tent with mylar on top, and just get a candle inside your tent. It'll keep you warm. Okay, it could be -10. You get a good emergency candle inside your tent, and you put mylar along the tent, the roof and the sides of the tent. That'll keep you warm. Okay. So what am I missing? Oh, you have no power. So you're going to want some form of entertainment. This is made by Eaton. It's an emergency NOAA radio. So it's got NOAA, it's got AM, FM, TV1, TV2, weather, and receiver. Okay, so it's got National Oceanic. It's got, let's see, each TV1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 10 channels of TV, so I can listen to the TV. I can listen to AM, FM, NOAA. It runs on AA's right here. It also has emergency crank. Okay, so if your AA runs out, you can crank this for like 5 minutes and it'll run for a couple hours. Okay, so that's an emergency radio. Keep you informed of what's going on. Keep the kids kind of happy. You know, keep some music in the house or whatever. Is that about it? I think that's about it. We did buy a Blue Eddy, so power bank. Blue Eddy is on eBay. You can get a refurb. I just got the EB3A, so it's a big beefy power bank. You know, you're gonna want, if you're not gonna have power, you're gonna want a way to charge up your cell phone. So I showed you some different options, like the little power banks that with the solar panels and stuff like that. We have all those, but I bought a Blue Eddy. They had refurbs. Blue Eddy, the actual Blue Eddy store is on eBay. They have refurb Blue Eddy E3BAs for like $100. I think it was 105. So they make an ACA, the newer, smaller one. It's more jiggy or whatever. But the smaller one is 300 watt, and it costs $95 for refurb. The refurbs come with 2-year manufacturing warranties. So then I saw the E3BA. That's a 600 watt unit. So I bought that, $105. Okay. If you have time, get it now. Okay, it's going to take about a week. Maybe go on Amazon, see if they have refurbs there. I know they do on eBay. I also bought last year. I got a solar, one of those solar panels. Okay, fold out solar panels. I think it's a 200 watt. Has all the connections. So I would hook up that solar, even though it's cold, the sun's out. So I could put the panel outside, run the connection to my Blue Eddy, and still, you know, save up charge. The Blue Eddy will run, it'll run a college size refrigerator overnight, you know, for a couple of days. But if you're charging it during the day, you'll be able to use that at night, plug your laptop into it, charge your phones, you know, at least have that amount of power. If you don't have a generator, it's a good option. We haven't bought a generator yet to replace the generator. So those are some different options. Power options, get some power cells, the smaller, you know, kind of ones. They're new and improved. You can get a bunch of those. It'll charge your phone up twice, and then you could charge it in your car or something like that. Blue Eddy also has a cigarette lighter option, so there's that. There's another option that I have too. Hang on one sec, I'll show you. All right, this is something I bought a few years back when I was living in Durham. We had the hurricane. This is made by Bestech. Okay. It's a 400 watt power inverter. Okay, so Bestech 400 watt power inverter. So what you would do is you'd hook this up to your car battery. Okay, it's another, you could charge Blue Eddy with this too, but here That goes to your car battery. Then it has connections for the unit right here. You see these connections? I can't tell if you can, yeah, right here. So those go there. Then you can plug in, run some extension cords, and have limited use of power. It's not a power cell. It's not going to save power, but it would be able to charge up the Blue Eddy if you need to. The Blue Eddy can also plug right into the car. So, cigarette lighter, if you have outlets, I have outlets in my truck. So, this is another option for power. Anyhow, I think that's it. Tent, mylar, emergency candle is one option to keep yourself warm. The buddy heater or big buddy heater is another option. This right here, option. Several options for cooking. How to make your own fire jelly. Remember, 2 parts water, 1 part acetate, and then just add denatured alcohol. You can also cook with heat. You could use charcoal fluid, lighter fluid. How to make your own stove. I also have professional alcohol stoves, and then of course your propane stoves as well. Okay, so stock up. I'm also going to be processing wood and everything like that because I've got the big boy 22-inch Weber grill. I've got the smoker, and I've got the chimney that I also cook on. So these are all different options for if you're going to be out of power for several days. Different options to, one, have power, charge your devices, Best Tech, Blue Eddy, some reasonable priced options for power. Okay, how to cook, how to stay warm. Okay, whether Big Buddy, Little Buddy, or Sun King, mylar on the tent, in the tent, okay, with a candle, all good. Remember, if you're going to use Crisco in a mason jar, that mason jar is going to crack apart. That doesn't work. You have to have a candle holder or Pyrex glass, something that's heat resistant. Otherwise, it cracks apart. So, get you one of those emergency candles at Walmart. They're like this. You could melt that wax and replace it with Crisco if you need to, but I don't see why you would do that. Crisco costs more. That big bucket of Crisco costs more than the candle's only $6. It's huge. So those are your options, okay? Hope you got some benefit out of the channel. If you have other tips, this is, going for our college friend and our new series, How to Prepare for a State of Emergency. If you have other tips and tricks and things like that, feel free to comment and leave some tips below. Definitely subscribe to the channel. We do have a lot of fun here and do a lot of outdoor stuff. Pat does a lot of short videos. He's into Harry Potter right now, so he goes through his phases. But, give us a subscribe, a like, and we'll talk to you next time. Until next time, this is Reed Homestead. God bless.